Guys, hello, what is going on? This is a late night video, but for the first time in a while, the man himself is actually doing a live review after a show aired on the same night. Pretty cool, I would say. I'm thrilled about that. I'm excited to be here. What is going on again? This is the Club of the Man 1993, and we are here live for my live review of tonight's episode of Friday Night Smackdown. It is the December 2nd, 2022 edition of Smackdown. We're in the last month of 2022 already. Holy smokes. And this show took place in Buffalo, New York, which is about 2 hours north from me. Now, next week's episode of Smackdown is going to be right here in my hometown of Pittsburgh, PA. Unfortunately, I will not be attending as none of my friends were able to go, and I unfortunately already had scheduled a haircut appointment that night. So I don't want to change it up because I do want to get my haircut before the holidays, and it's going to get busy again in a few weeks for me. So unfortunately, I will not be attending next week's show. But hopefully the next time wrestling comes to town, I will be in attendance. Anyways, so yes, we are going to talk about this episode of SmackDown. I know it was a good episode. I mean, a lot of the stuff was solid to me, like passable, solid. A few little nitpicks I will get in a little bit, but nothing too major. Just a couple little, I would rather have this or something like that. That main event, though, let me tell you something about the main event. When I saw how much time they were going to give that main event, and I saw who was in it, and I realized where both these men have come from, I was thinking to myself, yeah, we're good. This main event is going to be different. It's not going to be what I was expecting. And of course, I set my expectations high, and I feel I got what I wanted out of that main event. And also, on this episode, we got our first official entrant into the Royal Rumble, which takes place, of course, next month, January 28th, 2023, in San Antonio, Texas. So we're going to, of course, roll in and talk. I expect a lot of content from me this weekend. Again, I'm not as booked this weekend. I'm a little more laid back this weekend. So hopefully I will be able to get a lot of stuff caught up, like non-wrestling wise. Again, I have my SmackDown review, of course, but I do want to try to get episode 8 of my Wolfenstein 3 30th Anniversary Edition completed for episode 8. I'll probably get episode 9 in the full game done by the end of the year. And I also have a lot of small baseball videos I want to do too. So I'm hoping to get all of that caught up this weekend. And even more. Maybe get another TikTok or two up right now. Of course, as I keep advising as well. I am also been testing out TikTok to see if my social media expansion is worth it or not. So far, I seem to be doing decent on TikTok. I'm one follower away from 100. So, of course, make sure to follow me on TikTok at the Club of the Man 993. I'm sorry. The proper advertisement is make sure you shout for Meatball Sub and follow me on TikTok at the Club of the Man 1993. And also follow me on Twitter at the Club of the Man 93. Once again, stupid Twitter would not let me allow more than 15 characters, so I had to shorten that one. But I had to want to at least make it as close to my YouTube channel name as possible. So, again, we are, of course, going to roll in. And we're going to first acknowledge the live chat, because the live chat has some very good people in the live chat. Let's acknowledge them. We got Tyler, who did a live review, and he, of course, is sick and tired of Horseface as champion, referring to Ronda Rousey. And he wants Charlotte to come back. Hopefully soon she will be back. And we've got Rob Kenobi in the live chat, which my latest TikTok of Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn was for him, of course. And I'm hoping it was a success. Because so far I have 700 views on that TikTok, which is awesome. Of course, my Jon Moxley video where I'm saying how I feel like it was like a highlight reel about how I'm hoping Jon Moxley should bring back his unscripted violence theme. That has almost 6,000 views on it. So it's still pretty popular, which I like seeing. So definitely, again, as I experiment with my expanding of social media, make sure to follow me on TikTok and of course on Twitter as well. Anyways, but let's check the live chat here and get more. Continue on. Because we've got Rob Kenobi himself saying, because Bayley said you now have to call it Buffalo instead of Buffalo. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. We weren't in Buffalo, New York. We were in Buffalo, New York tonight, according to Bayley, as she calls us idiots. And of course, we got Tyler saying that main event was whatever to him. Okay. I, again, was thrilled by that main event. I really liked the main event. We got Dravi saying, I feel Santos Escobar had a little bit of a breakout performance during the main event. I hope he can one day transition into world title picture and eventually become champion, which I firmly believe he can do, of course. And yes, I do agree, that was definitely one of his better matches. Again, I've seen his matches in NXT. Not too many really stand out. They were good. I still always say that I still thought they could have done something a little bit more with Legado del Fantasma. Especially too, I'm still trying to lose the whole jobber status for Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde. Like, Escobar by himself, cool. I think those two might still be affecting my hype for Legado del Fantasma. I mean, so far they're fine on the main roster, but I still do agree Santos Escobar has a bright future for sure. I'm hoping, of course, that does, translate to the future, as Robbie says, into him being a world champion. He could definitely be a singles champion. World champion material for sure. 1, 2, 3, that's fair. LOL. I just love the way Liv Morgan delivered that line. Yes, I do see what you did there, Robbie. I did too. And Tyler still wants to split the World and Tag titles. I still think it's not going to happen until after Mania, but we'll see. We got Chris LeClaire in the live chat. Tegan Nox needs to stay healthy. Yes, she definitely was. We did have return of the one with the shiniest wizard tonight also on SmackDown. It was nice to see her back as well. We'll talk about that, of course, when we get to it. Robert Santos had a really good no DQ match with Karrion Kross back in NXT. I feel it's a little bit of a hidden gem. That was a good match. The only thing that was kind of like, the thing that was like kind of bothered me from that match, though, I remember that match. It just felt like it was weird because they were strangely pushing Kross as a baby face, and I felt like he was kind of losing his like dominating mojo he had. Like he felt like NXT's Goldberg for the longest time. That match, I just feel like he didn't, and I'm like, you didn't have to tone him down. It was still great though. And he also says, welcome back, Tegan Nox, not plain Nox. That's right, because they were trying to call her Shotzi and Nox when they were a tag team. And Tegan Nox knocked out Bayley cold with the shiniest wizard, that is for sure, and her multiple colored hair. But we will talk about that, of course. But let us, of course, get rolling. Let's talk about the show. Thank you to Tyler, Robbie, and Chris in the live chat. Please, guys, keep the comments coming, as I'm feeling pretty good tonight, so I'm willing to stay up here for a decent bit of time. But we will roll in and get started with this show. So the show opened up with an intro video. We got a little bit of a highlight reel of Survivor Series. And this, of course, was the Fallout show from Survivor Series also. So they come out. Jay gives them an intro. And then Sami Zayn starts saying how they won War Games because they had the longest reigning tag champs. But Jimmy goes, cuts him off and says, they're going to do that because tonight is about Sami. They leveled up and hashed it out, but Sami was the MVP, which of course gets him a Sami Uso chant. Jay then says how he didn't trust him for a long time, but he stepped up, and it's because of him that they won War Games. And Sammy's like, it's too much. I don't know what to say. And Jimmy says, how you feeling? And then Sammy's like, I'm feeling pretty oozy tonight. Once again, if you did not catch my wish list stream, that is still the #1 shirt on my Christmas wish list this year. If I do not get it for Christmas, I'm immediately buying it the day after Christmas. Because I'm not missing out on getting that feeling oozy t-shirt. Because I myself am feeling pretty oozy, if you know what I mean. Anyways, though, of course, he mentions that, and then they go in for their group handshake. And the Brawling Brutes interrupt, and Sheamus is like, let's go. And we have a match with Sami Zayn and Sheamus. After a promo where basically Sami Zayn's like, you know, you ever watch those movies or something like that where there's someone who feel like they're like king of the world, like, you know, yeah, you're true, like you're the cool dude, like you're getting all this attention, you're the cool dude, and eventually they're gonna just squash it. Yeah, that's Sami Zayn. That's where Sami is right now, but I love it. It has, again, Kevin Owens cut the perfect promo on Raw this past week, just mentioning it. Even though Sami's still the heel, we're finally getting that reminder of, hey, Sami Zayn's one of the best performers in the world today. And that babyface moment is setting up so good. And again, the rumor of having him fight Roman in Montreal at Elimination Chamber for the world title, that's a brilliant idea. I don't think Sami's winning the title there, unfortunately. If it was at Mania, I would say maybe. But Montreal, you know, I think it's just going to be a good way to set up for him and KO versus the Usos at Mania. But I can't wait for that. But we had Sami and Sheamus in this match. And of course, Sheamus dominated a decent amount of the match. I think we did get 20 beats of the Bound Room. Of course, there was some brawling outside the ring with the Brawling Brutes and the Usos. And of course, it was 3-on-2 because Solo Sikoa got involved as well. Towards the end of the match, though, when it looked like Sheamus was about to get the upper hand, because Sami set up for a haluva kick, but then Sheamus hit like a knee on him, and I think he was getting ready to set up for the high cross that he's been using a little more lately, which I love seeing him use that move again. Jimmy distracted the one referee. Jay got in there, super kicked Sheamus, and Sami did a sunset flip to get the victory. Cool boy Sami gets the victory, and all is good as of now with the Bloodline. As of now. Won't be for too long, though. Dang, that turn is gonna hurt. But, yeah, once it happens, it'll happen. And, of course, the storytelling will be great. Anyways, we then, of course, get a video package for the first of the two participants wrestling in the main event for the SmackDown World Cup and the #1 contendership for the Intercontinental title, who would fight Gunther in 2 weeks on the December 16th edition of SmackDown. So the first one, of course, was Legado del Fantasma, where Santos says he's going to make sure they win the cup. And just hypes up again Legado del Fantasma, how they're a successful group and whatnot. We then, of course, get Kofi Kingston backstage, as he revealed he is the first person to be entering the 2022 Royal Rumble match. And he can't bet against the odds, as he was asked about who's going to win the World Cup match in the main event. He says he can't bet the odds against Ricochet in the World Cup, but both men have a good shot against Gunther. Now, also, well, I'll mention this in a second. Imperium roll up and taunt him about spending more time on the internet than in the ring, because they believe this mat is sacred. And then Kofi says they can't give him a tag match because Woods ain't here, but he'll gladly give out a singles match to any of them. Meaning, in first, either Ludwig or Giovanni Vinci. I sound like Poppy from Seinfeld when I say that. Giovanni Vinci. And then Gunther rolls out of nowhere and says, cool, you can fight me tonight. So we have a non-title match being set up between Gunther and Kofi Kingston. We have Bray Wyatt cut a promo about how we're all spoiled. shrouded in technology with our manners, and we forgot that once upon a time we were all just wild animals. Spiders eat flies, snakes eat rats, but nobody looks at it like an act of violence. It's just animals. Some must die so that others can live, and you don't want to be the one who talks about it, because you don't want to be the freak. You want to hold on to your place in society and move on. And he is not the one that hurt L.A. Knight. And if he was the one, we don't know, because there'd be none of him left. That's suspense. Dun dun dun. What's he gonna do? So then we get ready for this match with Emma and Shayna Baszler. First off, I've not watched NXT in a long time, but I have come across some themes on the WWE Music YouTube page. It's just me, or does Shayna Baszler's newer theme songs sound almost exactly like Roderick Strong's? Just saying. But she's getting ready to take on Emma. When I saw them announce this match, I'm like, oh god, not again. Because, especially under Triple H, you would think he'd be having Shayna winning, right? She really hasn't. And she's been losing the same exact way that she was under Vince, with that crappy roll-up stuff. It drives me crazy. She should be dominating. Especially if her and Ronda are being a duo right now. Now, if, of course, Ronda actually tries, and Shayna gets back on track, imagine them as tag team champions. That's the only reason I would want Ronda to stay post-Mania after she drops the title to Becky, is if she actually put her whole heart into it on a consistent basis. Because again, as I said before, there's been some weeks she's, killing it. But there's been a lot of weeks where it feels like she's just not into it. If she was into it, I would still love to see her and Shayna have a run with the tag titles. If not, then I think I'm good with Ronda after WrestleMania 39. After that, I'm like, you don't have to stay. You can go if you want, if you're really not into this. Anyways, so Ronda wasn't there. I guess she was doing PR stuff, apparently, it was said. But she was getting ready to take on Emma. And I saw that, I'm like, ouch. I'm like, I don't want to see Emma lose again. But I also think Shayna needs this win. And then we have this backstage segment where where Madcap Moss rolls up to her in Gorilla. And she vents to him about the competition being tough. And he gives her some words of encouragement. Basically saying how, she's hoping she still belongs after 5 years. And Madcap saying, yes, you are. And you're beginning of you were the beginning of a movement, this and that and whatnot. And she did say thanks to Riddick and kissed him on the cheek. She called him Riddick instead of Madcap. I don't know if that was a botch or if he's for real supposed to be something to go by Riddick. But Madcap's just a nickname or something like that. I don't know. The only problem, again, this whole angle with, they're trying to have Emma and Madcap bring their real life romance on screen. I think they're doing that again because they really want to get Madcap popular. Madcap's got potential, but I just still don't think he's hit that high note. He hasn't been close to hitting that high note. But again, it's a little strange because one, we already know in real life they're a couple. And two, it's like 1 week, they're teasing that Emma's got a crush on Madcap. Then all of a sudden, right away, her and Madcap are a thing. I kind of wish that, again, even though, again, we already know they're a real life couple, I kind of wish there was a little bit more of a storyline progression into them becoming a couple. Having that moment. Kind of like how it was with Otis and Mandy Rose. How it's they weren't, definitely a thing, and all of a sudden they became a thing or something like that. So this feels a little bit rushed. Unless, again, if it's just because we already know they're a couple in real life. I don't know. Anyways, though, Emma has a match with Shayna Baszler. The match was okay. Eventually, though, Shayna dominated most of it. Emma had a few comebacks. But then, clean, Shayna gets the victory by getting Emma to tap out to the Karafuda clutch. So, I don't know if this whole thing with, because again, at first I would think, okay, is Emma just jobbing out? But now I'm looking at it thinking, okay, maybe they're trying to make Emma some sort of like underdog. You know, she's saying this idea how she's been gone for 5 years. Does she still belong here? That could be the story they may be telling with her. But Shayna getting the win, I'm like, good. But then after the match, she goes to, do more damage to Emma. And she sets up the stomping on the arm. And then Shotzi Blackheart runs out to make the save. But Shayna takes her down. And he tries to damage her elbow. And then Raquel Rodriguez comes out. And here's where I kind of soured. Because she came out and she has her arm in a brace. And they say she is out for 4 to 6 weeks. And Shayna backs off. And she's like, it took 3 of you. It took 3 of you. Okay, but here's the problem I had, though. Both Emma and Shotzi were both down. Yes, it still would not have made sense to bring out Raquel. Because, then you would have definitely known Shotzi was coming out. Well, then again, they never really established something on screen with Raquel and Emma. They did kind of show that one segment with Emma and Shotzi talking when Emma first said, have you seen Madcap? A few weeks ago. So, of course, but my thing, though, was you had both of them down. If both of them were down, why did Shayna back off from someone who only has one arm right now? You would think, like I said before, it's tough because they haven't, the only person that Emma's established a bond with the women that we've seen on screen so far, is Shotzi. You would have thought, though, Raquel would have came out before Shotzi. That way, Shayna could have done more damage to Raquel, and then Shotzi could have came out, that's a fresh arm. And then Shayna could have backed off. I don't know, I just thought it was a little strange how they had Shayna back off when someone with one arm came out. It was strange. It was a strange thing to me. I'm glad she got the win, though. But again, we'll see where they're going with the booking with Emma. Again, I'm thinking they're trying to make her some sort of like an underdog, maybe it looks like. But of course, we will see as it goes on. Anyways, so we have that, and then we have this video package of Lacey Evans being a Marine. Back to basics, as they're calling it. I guess for the 3rd time this year, we're repackaging Lacey Evans again. Oh boy, she's turned face and heel at least 3 or 4 times this year. Oh boy. We'll see what happens with this when she gets back. We'll see. I do like her new hair, though. I do like the long, not curly hair. I'll give her that. But we'll see what happens. Again, she's changed dynamics so many times this year already. It's a little crazy. But here's my number, so call me maybe. Just kidding. Anyways, let's keep rolling on here. We got Kofi Kingston versus Gunther in a non-title match. First off, they did mention something. What I was going to say before. They did mention something on commentary about how Kofi Kingston has to redeem himself from last year, referring to how he botched his crazy save from being eliminated. He did botch it last year, and that not too good. One of the worst Rumble matches I've seen, for sure. I wouldn't say it's the absolute worst, but it's definitely one of the worst last year. But Gunther and Kofi took on each other. The match was fine. Of course, during the match, though, towards the end, when Gunther was about to get a victory, Braun Strowman did come out. And again, I'm pretty sure they're probably, we're getting, the winner, we're getting an Intercontinental title match in 2 weeks. I guess we're maybe getting Gunther and Strowman at the Rumble, maybe, but I still have some problems, mainly because, again, they tease the fact that Gunther is afraid of Braun Strowman. And I still think it's too soon to show a weakness in Gunther, in my opinion. Because you want to make him look good going to WrestleMania. Because I'm still behind the idea of doing the third match with Sheamus and Gunther at WrestleMania. I'm still behind that idea. But again, I just don't like this idea that they're already showing Gunther being afraid of Braun Strowman. But Strowman just came out. Giovanni Vinci and Ludwig Kaiser tried doing some sort of like a setup to try to trick him, but it didn't work. And he just tossed them all into the timekeeper's area, and then he just left. I thought it was strange. I almost freaked out though because Kofi Kingston did hit an SOS on Gunther out of the distraction. I'm like, oh, don't tell me we're going to have him lose a non-title match here. Like, I would have been pissed if that happened. He didn't though. Gunther would win with the Emerald Fluision that he likes to call the Last Symphony. So he does get the victory, and of course he just awaits to see who won the World Cup later on in the match. Anyways, Sami Zayn is back into the Bloodline, lined up a restaurant for after the show. And the Usos make sure he takes Solo with him for protection. Which then leads the Usos to talk about how wild it is that Jay's finally cool with Sammy. But Jimmy asks about lying. And Jay says Roman saw what he saw, and they won War Games. So he's not worried about when Sammy lied about what he talked about with Kevin Owens last week. And as that happens, though, Sheamus comes out of nowhere and ambushes them with a shillelagh and promises them that he and Drew will be waiting for them on the other side. Which sets up, because Monday on Raw, they're going to Raw, and they're going to take on the team of Matt Riddle and Elias. And then whoever wins that match, Friday, they then defend the titles again against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. That'll be an interesting match for sure. I mean, if my heart was not set on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn dethroning him, I would have said give the belts to Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. I would have definitely been for that, in my opinion. So we got that. Then we have a recap of War Games. And then Damage Control shows up. They were advertised for the show. I'm like, what are they doing here? And I thought, okay, somebody's coming back here. So they came out to the ring, and then Bayley gets on the microphone and yelling at a fan and their dumb hat to sit down. Yeah, can you yell at Jake Hager for his hat, by the way? Because that hat's stupid. Anyways, she says she doesn't want to be here in stupid Buffalo, and Michael Cole must have missed her. And they're in a match for a combined total of 95 minutes and 19 seconds. And does the crowd understand what does that do to their bodies? And of course not, because they cheered for Becky when she won after being in the match for a cup of coffee. But then she starts trashing on the SmackDown women's roster and mentions how nobody from SmackDown stepped up at all to either face them or team with them. Which, she does got a point about that. Nobody ever mentioned on SmackDown trying to get into War Games. She has a point about that. Again, they've lost, and it's just hard for me to, still somewhat take them seriously. The only, somewhat saving grace is that they have the women's tag titles, but again, those mean absolutely nothing. But then I'm thinking, okay, who's coming out? Who's coming out here? And it's Liv Morgan. And like Robbie says, she basically just said 1, 2, 3. That's fair. And just runs to the ring and just causes carnage. So she starts brawling with Damage Control. And of course, the numbers catch up to her very quickly. And then I'm like, okay, who is it going to be? Who's it going to be? I hear the music play. I'm like, I don't recognize it at first. But we've heard rumors for weeks. And it's true. I didn't even recognize her at first. I didn't realize how many different colors she has in her hair. But Tegan Nox is back. And she returned. And she helped out with Liv. I thought maybe one more to make it 3-on-3. But I guess this is the next team they're teasing to take on Dakota and Io for the tag titles. Which, okay. Like, if they would dethrone Damage Control, fine. Again, I've loved the character development Liv has had since she dropped the title. And of course, there is a history with Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox. And anytime those two have wrestled one-on-one, they have really brought out the best in each other. I mean, really have. I think they had a steel cage match in NXT. They also had that no DQ match, I think it was, at TakeOver Portland. They can put on a good show. But she came out and made the save. And at first, they did kind of have the 3-on-2 advantage. But then Liv Morgan came out of the blue and took a kendo stick and started whooping them with it. And I think Bayley later tweeted, "I hate you all," and kendo sticks or something like that. And referenced that 95 minutes and 15 seconds or whatever heck it was that they were in War Games for and as a hashtag. But yeah, Tegan Nox is back. I'm happy to see her back, of course, too. I still truly think, well, of course, as I think Chris LeClaire said earlier, she's got to stay healthy. She's had 3 knee injuries, unfortunately. 3 or 4 with that ACL and whatnot. So she doesn't have the best knees. But I'm hoping it works out. I still think she can easily be a purebred babyface. Of course, though, like the booking, because I still feel bad because right before she suffered her last knee injury, she had just became #1 contender. She had that outstanding match with Io Shirai at the time for the NXT Women's title. She was kind of in a feud with Candice LeRae when Candice was still a heel. But, between that and, her coming out saying she's lesbian, I believe her and Sierra St. Pierre aren't together anymore, because I've seen pictures with her and some other girl now on Instagram. I believe she has a new girlfriend. But, I don't know, I just felt like she was starting to really find herself, both personally and inside the ring. I felt like she was really starting to, find her groove. And then she got injured. Then she got brought up, right after when she came back. And she was supposed to be Shotzi and Nox with Shotzi Blackheart. But then they moved her to Raw and we never saw her again. So, I would say she'll probably get a run with the tag titles first with Liv. Which is cool. Give her a year or 2. Build her up as a purebred babyface. And I think we could see her in the next couple years being a champion. That is, of course, if she stays healthy. But I'm excited to see her back. I did recognize her at first because of all the hair, how many colors her hair is now. But it's good to see her back. Maybe a few more coming back. I don't know. I still hear rumors Chelsea Green may be coming back. Heck, I even heard a rumor today that Eric Young is coming back. Unless he's a part of a group, I don't know about that one. But we'll see. We will see, though. Anyways. We then have, first, before our main event, have a video package with Karrion Kross. He's speaking in cryptic terms, and Scarlett's playing tarot cards. And she reveals the Emperor, and on the card is Rey Mysterio. So I guess Rey Mysterio is Karrion Kross's next target. Guess we're done with him and Drew McIntyre. Thought maybe they'd do one more match, but oh well. We then get a hype video also from Uncle Howdy. And also a hype video for the match that's taking place next week. Where again, we'll get a tag title match between the winners of Monday's match versus Drew McIntyre and Sheamus. I believe we're getting a match with Shotzi Blackheart and Shayna Baszler. We are going to be getting Kurt Angle celebrating his birthday in his hometown. That is awesome. For sure. But yeah. Then the main event is the SmackDown World Cup Finals with Ricochet and Santos Escobar. Let me tell you something. I thought this would be a decent match when it first got advertised. But then when I saw that it was going to be the main event, I had a good feeling. And then when I saw how much time it was going to get, I'm like, oh, I have a really good feeling about this. And to me, this was the match I felt like brought out the best in not just Santos Escobar, but I think we got more of like the cuffs being taken off of Ricochet, and he's slowly allowed to be the Ricochet we got in NXT. And I loved it. That's why I got very invested in this match. You could tell that they were trying to tell some type of a story, with Santos Escobar doing his crazy suicide dives from the Frankensteiner off the barricade. There was a one spot where at the beginning of the match we had Zelina Vega on commentary, and Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro was really causing the distraction to Ricochet. So much so that while the referee was distracted by Escobar, that Cruz del Toro pushed Ricochet, and Ricochet just flew like over halfway across the ring and, you know, did a somersault in midair, and of course landed on his upper back and whatnot, which of course did lead to the rest of Legado del Fantasma to get ejected from ringside. And when I saw that, I'm like, okay, we're really going all out in this match. And yes, it is very true. But yes, again, I think the match really got crazy after the suicide dives. But then we had both men on the floor. Like, this is the big turning point of the match. Both men were outside the ring. Santos was on one side of the barricade. Ricochet was on the other side. Ricochet went charging in, and jumps up onto a barricade, basically goes right past Escobar, and then jumps up and lands flat on his feet on a barricade. And then Santos jumps up and joins him. That's where we got the Frankensteiner off the barricade. And then we have some elbow drops and reverse chin locks. I think Ricochet even did a shooting star press, which was his original finisher for a while. But Escobar got the knees up and was able to counter him out there. We had a couple nice counters. I think there was a couple times where there was several hurricanranas that were hit on each other. Like, Ricochet hit some on Santos, Santos hit some on Ricochet. I know one of them that Santos tried to hit on Ricochet. Ricochet landed on his feet, which also is like, this is nuts. Like, this is old NXT Ricochet that I saw there. The only move they did not do that I was disappointed they didn't do was a Spanish fly. Because for those of you who know me well, I pop with my Spanish flies. And I was really feeling it. And then, of course, he was able to set up Santos again after a series of kicks. I thought they would just hit the recoil on him and that's it. But then I'm like, what if? And sure enough, this put the exclamation point when I'm like, they're going all in on Ricochet again. Because they had, for the first time in God knows how long, since maybe the beginning of his main roster run, we had Ricochet hit a 630 splash on Santos Escobar to get the win. And that's where I'm like, okay, they're serious about Ricochet. I mean, you felt it when Triple H first took over. They were giving him more TV time. They gave him a few wins, but they were still kind of like, saying easy, like, pressing on the gas a little, but not all the way. This match, I felt like, again, not only was it a breakout performance for Santos Escobar, but it was also like Ricochet getting back on his feet. Landing on his feet again with crazy maneuvers. I mean, okay, we haven't seen him do do a dive over the top rope, and go a quarter of the way down the ramp and land on his freaking feet or whatnot or anything. But dang, when I saw this match was main eventing, and then I saw the time, I'm like, I got a good feeling about this, and I got what I wanted. I really loved that match. It made me, have a lot more faith that they're going to do something more with Ricochet, and also with Santos Escobar as well. Santos may have lost, but definitely one of his best matches, and I do think someday he will get his shot with a championship. And then Ricochet celebrates the trophy and the fireworks. When Gunther comes out and they have a little bit of like a face-to-face. And we went off the air. And that was SmackDown, guys. I gave it a B. Like I said, a couple little nitpicks with the women. But other than that, again, I thought it was a good show. Again, most of the stuff was solid. That main event, though, was definitely my favorite thing. No doubt about it, that was my favorite thing. Again, it's a shame that I'm not going to be going to SmackDown next week, but it looks like it's going to be a good show next week. But of course, we'll talk about that then. So let's check the live chat before we go off the air and see what we got here. I think we were back here with Robbie saying, also, Mike, I noticed Tegan counted 1-2 after she came out to Liv's aid. Do you think another face could return top SmackDown to aid them against Damage Control? I'd like to, but I'm just wondering who else there is. Like, who else could come back? Like, again, I know Chelsea Green's going to come back, but I don't know if Chelsea Green's going to be a face when she comes back. So they could make it like a 3-person stable, but I don't know who it would be. We'll have to wait and see, though. He also said, Mike, I felt Ricochet went back to his NXT days with the moves he executed, especially the 630. Was there any reason he stopped using it on the main roster? Vince probably didn't want him using it because he thought it was too much. But yes, like I said, I think since his early days on the main roster, this is definitely the first time I've seen Ricochet do the 630. We have Curvin Abreu. What's up? He said this match was slow. I'm not sure. Probably talking about maybe Shayna. Probably Shayna Emma. He thinks Emma's buried. Oh, I'm sorry. Tyler thinks Emma's buried. So it's probably that match. She likes Baron Corbin getting a new gimmick. It's probably referring to Lacey Evans. Bobby Lashley versus Gunther at WrestleMania. Not opposed to that. That'd be a pretty good match. I mean, they're on separate brands, but you never know. Tegan Nox versus Bayley for the first time. That's true. They would have a good match, I feel like. How the hell Sheamus and Drew got a title shot? I mean, true, yes, they, lost and whatnot, but, that still should be a good match. Jobber control, lose control, no one care control. Nobody care control. I mean, you do got a point. I mean, they're not booked well at all, so I don't blame you. I compared Damage Control to 3MB. Ouch. I don't blame you, but yeah, ouch. Tegan Nox have 0 pop. I mean, not too many people on the main roster probably know Tegan Nox. Like, if people weren't watching NXT, like when Tegan was in NXT or at the Mae Young Classic, they wouldn't know her. So I do get why she probably didn't have as big of a pop as you would have liked, but I feel she will connect eventually. He thinks every return need a video package. Only because, only reason why I would disagree with that is only because I would want some people to actually be an actual surprise. Let me see here. He doesn't watch NXT. Io Sky carried Tegan Nox. Don't remember that. Triple H wants to bring back everybody, but can Triple H book everybody? I mean, you got a point. He can't, put everybody on TV at once, but he could at least, do, the roster rotation, make people feel credible, at least, but, you think Tyler thinks the SmackDown Women's Division is awful with no Charlotte. I mean, even if Charlotte was around, it'd still be the same thing, in my opinion, because all the women would still feel flat, and Charlotte wouldn't really have anybody to compete with, basically. Just my opinion. Bring back the Divas bikini matches. Sexy, beautiful ladies on TV because women's wrestlers suck. Not all do, but like I said, I feel like you probably get that maybe with Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction, maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Okay, bye. This is boring. Sorry if I didn't entertain you, but see ya. Chris says, I care about Damage Control. They just need to be both better. Oh, definitely. Trust me. I do think Damage Control could be good if they would book better. But is it too late to like get them back on track? You know, like, or it should be just like a standard heel stable that's just putting people over. I mean, I would hope things get turned around, but I don't know. Because right now, it looks like Bayley's going to start a feud with Becky, and I don't think they're going to have Becky lose going into WrestleMania season, especially if she's going to fight Ronda. But we will see, of course. And Robbie also says, if Eric Young does in fact return, is there a chance we could get a Sandy reunion? Now, if that happens, I'm cool with that. Personally, in my opinion, I think Eric Young is more meant to be like the leader of a stable. If he's just by himself, I don't see much. But maybe, I mean, because I don't think, Killian Dane or Alexander Wolf are doing anything right now. I don't think so. Dang, though, I loved Sanity. I really did. And I still, to this day, do not get how Vince did not push Killian Dane. Like, again, especially towards the end of their run in NXT, Killian Dane, for crying out loud, was killing it. Freaking multitasker. Doing, like, several combos of, like, double drop kicks and sentons on top of people at the same time. I don't get that one at all whatsoever. How about Asuka, Charlotte, Alexa, and Becky on the SmackDown women's scene? I mean, for something fresh, we'll put them there. And that wouldn't be too bad of a roster, of course. I mean, we've already seen Charlotte and Becky how many times, so that's the only thing. So keep them, maybe, I don't know. Other than that, though, that's decently, well, we've also seen Charlotte and Asuka. I mean, like, Alexa, it could have some merit to it. We'll see. Also, Robbie gives a little bit of a wild card idea. What if Triple H tries to bring back Authors of Pain? What have they done since being released? I have heard nothing about AOP. But I wouldn't mind bringing them back. AOP versus the Viking Raiders. Which, yes, I love those AOP versus the War Raiders, but, with this gimmick change, again, I think the thing is, the Viking Raiders, when they got called up, again, the thing that hurt them was their name change and their gimmick change. Now that they're getting a little bit more of a character, I think they're starting to get back on track, which I like that. Thoughts on Sarah Logan's new name change? Personally, I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it because, like I said, before we got Sarah Logan, again, I just thought she was super green. Like, I didn't get to see much of her in NXT. She got called up, I thought, way, 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 way too soon. So, I'm actually cool with the name change and the gimmick change. I'm cool with it because, like I said, as just Sarah Logan, she was just okay. Like, nothing really special. But I'm cool with the name change, in my opinion. Alexa Bliss looks like she is going after Bianca's Raw Women's Championship. She could. I don't know. We'll see if she does or not. I mean, I'm still thinking they should have Rhea win the title at Rumble and have Mia Yim win the Rumble. And her and Rhea face have Rhea and Mia face each other at Mania for something fresh. And then SmackDown on Thursday and put AJ Styles there then. You could. I mean, personally, I would definitely prefer SmackDown not to be on Fridays, especially because that's the night that you don't get to consistently watch it. Thursday would be fine, I guess. I don't know, but And Bayley should win the Royal Rumble. Bayley has not won a Rumble yet. If that's a way to try to get Damage Control back on track, fine, sure. I'll take Bayley winning the Rumble. But I think I'm going to call it a night here, guys, though. I do appreciate you guys for sticking around who, are fine with me. If you think I'm boring, that's okay. But, just don't trash my live chat, but it's okay. But yeah, good stream, guys. Thank you guys for joining me live tonight. Again, I have a lighter load this weekend. Oh, wait, we still got Robbie saying something else. I hope one day Triple H can bring back the Viking Raiders' original team name and individuals' names. Sarah can stay as Valhalla, or even go back to being just Logan, along with Rowe and Hanson. I guess, I don't know. I do kind of like the name Valhalla, though. I do kind of like that name. So, but like I said, they're getting character back, so I think that is going to help them. But yeah, I'm going to call it here, guys. Again, thank you guys for your stuff in the live chat. Again, expect a lot of like baseball and hopefully more Wolfenstein uploads over the weekend. As I'm definitely going to take a huge advantage of not being too busy this weekend and try to get a lot of stuff caught up with. Because again, these past 2 weeks, the holidays were nuts. Come around Christmas time at the beginning of January, though, it is going to get kind of busy again. I'm pretty sure, though, because the second week of January, I have to go out of town again for work. So I'll probably end up having to just pre-record those reviews that week when I get back. But that's the plan going forward, guys. But as always, guys, I appreciate your patience. Thank you very much. Again, I also, of course, I did a special with my Christmas wish list of which shirts for both WWE and AEW are on my Christmas wish list. I also have in mind for the end of the year, I still got to rewatch it, though. Since it's going to be 10 years on December 18th since I attended my first ever live wrestling event, which was the Super Smackdown of 2012 and the Christmas Eve Raw taping. Yes, the one where Alberto Del Rio hit Santa Claus. Yes, that was my first ever WWE event that night. But I'm going to watch both shows for old time's sake and do a retro live review for those. They probably won't be good shows, of course. I go back again and see how I feel about them. But with it being 10 years, I want to acknowledge it some way. So that's what we're going to do. Do it, Mike. Watch them live or review them live. I'll review them live. I probably won't watch them live, but I will review them live. But that's what I plan on doing. And yes, Great Khali dressed as a big old elf. Yes. I was introduced to WWE. Well, again, I've heard of it before, but, I didn't really, watch that much. Like I said, I always say, my sister briefly watched Raw, like, back in the day. And the one segment that I always do remember was the segment with HBK telling Jericho, trust me when I say, I'm not hurt. Like, that was probably one of the only segments I remember back in the day. If I knew who Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, those guys were, I knew that. But of course, like I said, how on earth I became a wrestling, I still, stuck around after seeing Great Khali as a Christmas elf. Like I said, it took SummerSlam 2013 for me to be a wrestling fan. But yeah, I plan on doing that at some point as well. But let's go do it, guys. Again, I'm going to go to bed, but I will be up here, I will be recording several videos over the weekend. And yeah. So, guys, that's my thoughts on SmackDown for this week. And I gave the show a B. Thank you guys again for joining me in the live chat. Very fun stream tonight. What are your guys' thoughts on this week's episode of SmackDown? Did you like that main event also, as much as I did with Ricochet and Santos Escobar? Leave your thoughts down in the comments section below. Be sure as always to slap a like on the video. Subscribe for more content to come to my channel. And make sure to follow me on Twitter at the Club of Demand 1993. And make sure to shout for me, blossom. And follow me on TikTok at the Club of Demand 1993 as well. And again, hopefully more social media accounts to come soon. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of a tease for my. I'm gonna end this video with a little bit of a tease for the idea of my new introduction. Yeah, it's probably not going to be that special, but all I can say is, for I am the man himself.